Ever since I first saw that terrifying and amazing pictures of an atomic bomb exploding, I've been extremely fascinated about nuclear physics and the power that lays deep behind the nucleus. That was how I started my master's thesis in nuclear physics, and I think that it pretty much sums it up: terrifying and amazing. And I must admit, when I first started to learn about nuclear power, I was a bit frightened, because I had learned that nuclear power, that was almost evil. So, our civil nuclear power started as a military project during World War II. And today, I think that many people, they still see nuclear power and nuclear weapons as almost exactly the same thing. I think that conception is wrong and often based on a lack of knowledge. So, after the war, a lot of countries, they still chose to go for that nuclear option, and they were quite happy and optimistic about this until 1986, the Chernobyl accident. World's most, or history's most ironic accident. It was a safety test. And then it took 25 years before people were starting again to accept nuclear power, and before 2011, it was actually a lot of fun to be in the field of nuclear power, because even here in Norway, we were starting to talk about the nuclear renaissance. Then, in March 2011, this happened. Japan was stricken by a devastating natural disaster, an earthquake on a magnitude of 9 on the Richter scale, triggering an enormous tsunami. That earthquake and that tsunami damaged the Fukushima nuclear power plant on the east coast of Japan. However, I think that many of you here, your view on this accident is wrong. Because if you think it's like something like it was presented in the media, both Norwegian and international, with something like, oh my God, nuclear atoms, radiation, meltdown, help, mutation, die. Well, you're wrong. You're definitely wrong. 15,000 people died or went missing, but it wasn't because of what happened at the Fukushima nuclear power plant. They died because of the earthquake and the tsunami. If, on the other hand, you think it was no problem whatsoever, you're also wrong. But actually, I think that if you have the latter view, it's actually a little bit closer to the truth than the former. Anyway, a reality check is nice. Radiation is natural. I'm radioactive, you are all radioactive, our environment is radioactive. And the dose level in Norway is actually higher than the world average, and for example, higher than it was in Tokyo, even during the Fukushima accident. It was higher in Oslo at all times. And this is mainly because of the radioactive gas radon. And just for the record, it's not dangerous to live in Norway. You know, you've seen this trend before. This is the world population. It has grown from less than 1 billion at the time of the Industrial Revolution to more than 7 billion today, 7 billion 2 years ago. And we know this, and I don't think we really understand, because these numbers are so huge. It's difficult to comprehend. So if we take it down a little bit, the world population grows by 10,000 every hour. By the time that I have finished this talk, 4,200 babies have been born, and we will be in total 3,000 more people in the world every 18 minutes. And these are numbers, at least I can comprehend, I think you can too, because you can imagine 3,000 people gathering up in 18 minutes. So, these people, more than 7 billion in total in the world, we need energy, we want cheap energy, because it's so important for our society. Or of course we could say that, no, but those people are not entitled to our standard of living. That's not right, is it? So, that's why we get back to my field, nuclear energy. Well, before I talk about nuclear energy, I'm showing you this very nice picture here. This is a pile of hydrocarbons in the form of coal. And also on that picture is the equivalent amount of energy in uranium. No, you cannot see it, but it's there, I promise. Okay, so I will now try to explain a little bit more in details, and then I have to do this. Because if you take an atomic nucleus like uranium-235, you bombard it with neutrons, it will fission, and when it fissions, splits into two, you get two fission products, you get a couple of free neutrons, some gamma rays, and you get energy. And you get a lot of energy. Actually, per reaction, if you look at per atomic nucleus that fissions, and compare that to per reaction of burning coal, for example, you get 50 million times more energy per reaction. 50 million times more energy. Something I don't understand. How is it possible to worry about global warming and not be pro-nuclear? Thank you.